Whoever advised President William Ruto to impeach Rigathi Gachagua is a witch. He is Ruto's number one enemy, and Ruto should sack that person. He should be relieved of his duties with immediate effect, because this person does not have the best interest of William Ruto at heart. Moreover, this person who advised Ruto did not give Ruto plan C. He simply told William Ruto, impeach Rigathi Gachagua. Then the only plan B that they had was that after impeaching him, because impeachment was the plan A, now plan B was appoint Kithure Kindiki. And that is all, because I don't know whether it was from a proper search, proper intelligence service knowledge, because according to them, they thought that Mount Kenya would forget Rigathi Gachagua as soon as he was impeached, and they would follow the ideologies of Kithure Kindiki. But if you ask me, that has failed, and you can see right now they are now pumping a lot of money, and they are now conducting what they call, I don't know, empowerments, and there's a lot of money handouts that are being given, and the bishops are already complaining. The reason I'm saying that the person who advised William Ruto to impeach Rigathi is a witch is because even after realizing that things are not working, they are now adding petrol into fire, because this same group or person is telling William Ruto or trying to advise William Ruto to arrest Rigathi Gachagua. One thing that they don't understand is that Rigathi has been praying for this for quite too long. This is what Rigathi wants. Rigathi wants the government of the day to attempt to arrest him. And let me ask you, ladies and gentlemen, if William Ruto arrests Rigathi Gachagua today, who will have the advantage? Who will it work for? Will it work for William Ruto or Rigathi Gachagua? Who will suffer the consequences? If you ask me, William Ruto will aggravate an already volatile political situation in the country further, and he will suffer the consequences. So today, the media houses were told that the DCI Subarus had taken over both Rigathi's Karen and Wamunyoro home. And I looked at this information and I realized that finally, Ruto is falling into Rigathi's trap. Rigathi has succeeded in trapping William Ruto. You know, for sometimes Rigathi fell into Ruto's trap when they got to power, and he told, Rigathi Gachagua, you go and antagonize Uhuru Kenyatta, antagonize Raila Amolo Odinga, because he knew very well that he had plans to ditch Rigathi at some point, and he knew very well that Raila would not try and help him, Uhuru Kenyatta would not try and help him, and I'm talking of their supporters. So Rigathi has a revenge mission that is very sweet. He's dragging William Ruto to fall into his trap, and he also has a plan to ensure that William Ruto is a one-term president. Now, if you want to know that Rigathi has been doing everything to ensure that William Ruto is vexed to an extent that he cannot hold his anger anymore, and he will try to arrest him, listen to the speeches of Rigathi Gachagua. I listened to Rigathi Gachagua, and the only other person I have watched telling the powers that be what Rigathi is talking about is Raila Amolo Odinga. Bold, without any fear, Rigathi is injecting. Rigathi, just the other day while in Obina's show, said that they will not allow a rigged election, and in fact he said that will result into chaotic scenes in the country. You know, when he said that, Morocco men and the president worship team within Ruto camp tried to intimidate him. But ladies and gentlemen, I want you to listen to Rigathi Gachagua. After being told that, we will arrest you, they thought he would coil his tail. But Rigathi Gachagua refused to be intimidated. In fact, he now added that statement further, reminding William Ruto that he is the key architect of Kiambaa Inferno. That tells you that he didn't want to be intimidated. So he's now talking about William Ruto being mwizi, muuaji, and he is saying that he will not tire of speaking the same.
Kiongozi mmoja amewahi kuwa katika ofisi kubwa katika taifa letu, anaenda kutangazia Wakenya wote kwamba at 2027 elections kutakuwa na vita kubwa kuliko ile ya 2007-2008. Mtu hiyo matamshi peke yake is enough to bar that person from holding any public office. Forget about impeachment and so forth. That just statement. Because watu wengi 2007-2008 walipoteza wapendo wao. Some people have never recovered, and somebody is promising violence kwamba itakuwa kwa hali ya juu wa kutoka sehemu mbalimbali duniani. We will not allow our country to go back to any form of violence, never ever again. Hiyo haiwezekani. Not when Kipchumba is the Minister of Security. Any person who will attempt, na county commissioner na county security team, mtu anafanya mkutano yoyote hata kama ni ya usiku na mpango yao ni kuleta vita, don't spare them. Whether wako upande wa serikali ama wako kwa opposition, don't spare any of them. All must be arrested and must be charged in a court of law.
Finally, mimi nilisema juzi na mimi naona they are trying to change the context of what I said. Mimi sijasema Kenya itakuwa na fujo. Mimi nimesema nikisikiza Wakenya vile wanasema wewe William Ruto usijaribu kuiba uchaguzi, na nimeuliza IBC, please be patriotic, msiweke hii nchi kwa shida, because history has shown when there is a contested election there can be violence, and it has happened, and we must refer to history. That's why I said we saw what happened in 2007. So please, IBC, make sure you don't create a situation where we can have a recurrence of what happened in 2007. Because if it happens this time the way people are talking, it can be worse. Na mimi, it is my civic duty as a leader to caution the country. Siku tumeleta finance bill 2024, mimi nienda kwa rais nikamwambia, hii finance bill usisukume. Kwa cabinet yote watu 22 na rais, mimi ndio nilipinga. Na nikasema iweke kwa minute. Nikasema hii kitu italeta fujo Kenya. Hii watoto wanaitwa Gen Z hawatakubali. Na ilifanyika. There was violence, there was unrest, there were chaos. That does not mean that we are advocating for anybody to fight anybody. What they are unhappy about, na ndio wanashida wakinipigia kelele, hawataki tukubusha watu mambo ya Kiambaa ile kanisani. Tulikusamehea lakini hatuwezi hau. Ulichoma watoto wetu ndani ya kanisa. We'll keep on reminding you. I know that is why you are unhappy. Na tulikuwa karibu tusahau until ulituma watu pale Kasarani, pale Mweki PCA Church ndani ya kanisa, vijana wakuje kutuua sisi ndani ya kanisa.
Songo ende. Aya, Harambe! Wewe Kasongo, wewe William Ruto, wewe mwizi, wewe harapu mashamba, wewe muuaji, wewe adui ya wote ya mlima, aende asiende, atembee asitembee.
So Rigathi Gachagua, instead of being intimidated, he reiterated his statements, even adding more weight to it. Ladies and gentlemen, in this video, I want us to try and answer just one question. To whose advantage is any attempt of arresting Rigathi Gachagua? Because for William Ruto, it will help him trying to see the strength. He's weighing the strength, the political strength of Rigathi Gachagua in the mountain. Like, if he's arrested, will people come out to riot? How many people will come out? In social media, what will happen? And how many leaders will come out? Will they be cowed, or they will stand up with Rigathi Gachagua? To him, that is something that is still doing, especially after the launch of Rigathi Gachagua's party. That's when you will know those who are with the Rigathi and those who are, not in his camp. So those are things that is trying. It can even also help him to intimidate other leaders not to walk around Rigathi Gachagua. They can use that so that Rigathi Gachagua does not continue with the rallies, things like that. But the bigger part of it will benefit Rigathi Gachagua. And in this video, I want to tell you how William Ruto is slowly getting into Rigathi Gachagua's trap. Kindly subscribe to our channel if you are watching us for the first time, or you are our regular viewers and you have not yet subscribed. When you do that, click the notification bell. This allows YouTube to notify you whenever we release a video. Ladies and gentlemen, kindly don't forget to like and share videos. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to remind you of something that I've talked about of late. Of late, BBC released a documentary showing the whole country and demonstrating how the police, together with the military, killed youths when they invaded parliament. Almost the same week when this was happening, the United Nations Human Rights Council sat down to review Kenya's human rights record. In the very week, US also gave a report about what they feel about Kenya and their relationship. And then they cautioned William Ruto that you are headed to the Eastern superpowers. And they said that China does not uphold the rule of law and human rights. So after all this happened, ladies and gentlemen, Rigathi Gachagua understands that very well. And so if you arrest Rigathi Gachagua wants to use this the same way William Ruto would want to measure the strength and weight of Rigathi Gachagua. Rigathi would also want to know, for the period that he was impeached and he whipped emotions and he played that sympathy politics, how many people are with him? Will people come out? Because in rallies, they've always come out for him. But can people come out because that is what he wants? And Rigathi understands well that the moment he's arrested, youths will come out. When that happens, it will trigger running battles between the youths and the police at a time when the dust has not settled on the BBC documentary, when the dust has not settled on the review of Kenya's human rights record. And this will result into more killings, more kidnappings, and how much damage do you think it is going to do to William Samoei Ruto? It will go further in proving that indeed William Ruto presides in an environment where youths are killed when they are demanding for their rights. And Rigathi Gachagua wants to continue to ensure that William Ruto's image, both at the local and the international front, is damaged. Remember, just recently, he was saying that William Ruto is part and parcel of the genocide that is going on in Sudan, when the RFS, with their leader Hemedi, coming to Kenya, being invited after causing a lot of deaths in their country. And Rigathi said William Ruto and Hemedi were doing business. So when this happens, you know the amount of damage that it will give William Ruto at a time when the US has ditched William Samoei Ruto. When it happens that he's arrested and the youths come out and they are killed on the streets as they try to protest, then the rift that has existed since June last year will continue. The youth will continue to hate William Ruto, and even as we head towards 2027, Rigathi will be sure that William Ruto will get nothing from the youth. If that bitterness continues, because when the youth just need a trigger. In fact, the country is politically volatile. So when you arrest Rigathi, the same way the finance bill was just a trigger, because we have a population that is very bitter. He wants to widen the rift so that William Ruto cannot count on their votes. If you arrest Rigathi Gachagua, it also gives him a lot of strength even among the core principles. Already, you realize that some of Rigathi allies are stating that Rigathi cannot consolidate all that support and then leaves it to someone else, there is a possibility that they want Rigathi Gachagua to contest. In the event that Rigathi, Fred Matiang'i, Martha Karua, Kalonzo, and all those co-principals would want to try and compete as to whom is going to be given the mandate to carry the flag of the opposition, Rigathi would want this to be seen, number one, as the only person who is suffering, as the only person who is being targeted by William Ruto. You see, when you are targeted, it means you are the arch enemy, you are the arch rival, you are the competitor and the obvious, main nemesis of William Samoei Ruto. When this happens, it continues to give Rigathi clout, it sells Rigathi Gachagua.
Maana natangaza nikiwa hapa Murang'a, Mheshimiwa Rigathi Gachagua, wewe umerarua hii mtu inaitwa Kasongo, sasa anaenda Agikuruma. Wewe umerarua yeye mpaka mwisho, wa Kenya wataki kumuona. Na hatuwezi kubali. Ati wewe umerarua yeye, wewe umemaliza yeye, alafu watu wengine waanza kusimama president. Hapana, lazima Rigathi ukue kwa ballot kama rais wa Jamhuri ya Kenya. Simama ndio hayo. You are the presidential candidate ambaye wewe watu wote watataka kuchagua.
So as you can see, people like Karungo Wathama saying that Rigathi Gachagua is the man to beat. So that tells you that they are intending to insist that Rigathi Gachagua is going to be the flag bearer. When he does that, he will kick out Fred Matiang'i in Mount Kenya because currently they feel that Fred is the right man. But if Rigathi Gachagua says he's going to contest, I think Mount Kenya fraternity will rally behind him. And so he will also be entrenching himself as the real Mount Kenya kingpin, because as we speak, Uhuru has already proposed Fred Matiang'i through the Jubilee Party. Rigathi wants to wrestle that. So it will give him an edge over the competitors, an edge over that opposition group. Number three, this is going to expose William Samoei Ruto as a man who is very intolerant, a man who is not democratic. William Ruto himself, well, in the Uhuru government, had complained that his people, those who were close to him, were being targeted by the DCI.
Vitisho imekuwa mingi Kenya hii. Wewe ukionekana namna hii utapelekwa kwa DCI. Wewe ukifanya hii utapelekwa kwa sijui ESCC. Ukiwa salamia fulani unawekewa kesi. So watu wengine wanaingiza uoga.
So he will be exposing William Ruto as a man who had said that he will not accept, he will not allow the police to be used against those who are reading from different political script. And people will be looking at Ruto as really a man who is vexed easily. Because, if you ask me, Rigathi Gachagua has now crossed the red line, by calling William Ruto Mwizi, Muwaji, Arap Mashamba. Those are things that William Ruto would not want. Those are names that he would not want to be called. That is why the other day, there were even talks to regulate TikTok, because that is where the conversation started. And that slogan is really, pricking William Ruto. Because that will be the easiest and the surest way of disintegrating the power within the unity in the opposition. If Kenyans want William Ruto to go home, it will not just end by saying Ruto must go, Mwizi Kasongo must go. I've always insisted that the opposition must be organized in such a way that they are only going to fail one candidate and allow Kenyans to rally behind that one person. Any kind of division will be the easiest way of re-electing William Ruto for a second term. And so William Ruto will be very happy if Rigathi insists that he's going to contest. Kalonzo will not support anyone. He's supported Raila for 15 years. He cannot afford to do that because he knows very well that this is his time, now or never. Rigathi, FREDRICK Matiang'i has been pushed by Uhuru Kenyatta and is going for nothing but the presidency. So if Rigathi insists, then that group is going to disintegrate and Kasongo will take some. So ladies and gentlemen, any attempt by William Ruto's administration to arrest Rigathi Gachagua will only be detrimental to his rule, will only be detrimental to his government. And so he should not attempt it. If he does, he's falling into Rigathi's trap. This is a trap that Rigathi Gachagua has laid for quite some times. Someone has been telling William Ruto don't, but now he feels that Kasongo has crossed the red line, and the best thing to do is to arrest him. I can assure you, it will backfire. It's going to be a backlash, because we are also facing the Finance Bill 2025. Rigathi is also targeting that. Rigathi is using that so that by the time tunafika pale Finance Bill 2025, the country is already volatile. Already, you've heard him say that he told off William Ruto in a cabinet meeting that this finance bill is not popular among the youths, among the Gen Zs. So he will be repeating that. And moving forward, Rigathi Gachagua is targeting the Finance Bill 2025. He's targeting the BBC documentary, because he knows very well Kenyans are watching internationally. Kenya is in the radar. He's targeting America, which is now, detaching itself from William Ruto, the international community. So he knows exactly what he's doing. And he's also targeting the ICC. He knows very well that if these atrocities will get to a certain level, someone will be called to answer. And William Ruto is obviously the commander-in-chief of all the armed forces. And he could just be called to the ICC. Remember, some people say that his case was terminated. Others say it was just, suspended or something, that it can be reactivated. All this placed together will not work well for William Ruto. Ladies and gentlemen, do you think arresting Rigathi Gachagua will work for William Ruto or for Rigathi Gachagua? Kindly share with me in the comment section.